Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this amazing Monday. We have an exciting stream for you today. I have an awesome guest. We have some awesome open source projects to show you and an awesome open source project we're going to build so you all can get some green squares today. So let us know in the chat if you're here by saying hi and welcome Dima. Dima is the co-founder and CTO of Novu. It is an open source project and platform that allows us to send notifications. But enough from me. Let me head over to Dima. Dima, please introduce yourself and let us know a bit more about your project, your open source project, and about the project we're going to build today.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, thank you for having me here. Super excited to be here. Actually, I've been into programming for the maybe past around 10 years or so. So this is for me, I was coming from more of a musical background and kind of gradually did the shift towards engineering. So this is I really I think from the early beginning of my programming, it was I've seen the open source community, and for me it was it was really exciting to see people engaging and contributing code. So it really in the early days, being able to see issues and others people code, I think it really helped me out and really learn programming. So this is really exciting. And actually Novu, this is something me and Tomer, he's my co-founder in building Novu from the early beginning. Today we are around 40 contributors, so we are keep growing. But it was this kind of concept that we really kind of felt we're reinventing the wheel when it comes to sending notifications within the companies we've been working on and just developers we've been chatting out. And it's all the time hey, we should rebuild it, and we're building it again, and the next project comes again, and we decided eventually hey, let's just put it out there and see how the developer community reacts. So we created this initial seed of just the bare bones of code, barely working. And really we've seen incredible community reaction to that, and people jumped in and just told us about the experience building it within their own companies and shared tips and hey, let's do that and that. So it's super excited about building Novu publicly in open source. This is something we enjoy so much doing.
That's awesome. And I can't wait to share more about your open source project. We're going to bring it up on the screen shortly. And we're going to create a new project today where we're going to use the Novu notification platform, send notifications, and we're going to create it so it's open source tips get emailed or SMS to you, the audience, for those of you who sign up daily. And we want you to add the tips and the tips that get sent as notifications. So lots of green squares to give away today. And I noticed that if you say Tomer 3 times, they appear in the chat as well. Another really interesting fact, and this is a discussion for another time, is Novu is 100% open source. I've got that correct, right, Dima? It's 100% open source. And you've also received funding, and you're growing your team and the company, which I think is amazing. I'm loving hearing all these stories about open source projects getting turned into companies and getting funding. I'm talking funding, I don't want to mention any numbers, but we're talking millions. And I think that is epic. So that's a conversation, I think, for another time. But just to give everyone a bit of kind of food for thought for questions for another time. So I can see Tomer is definitely here. Great to have everyone here. Let's give some shout outs. So right at the top, Gali was first, and then we had Bull, and then Praduma, of course, and Emma with Web Developer Mentor, George, RS, Savindu. You're all super early, and Emma, great to have all you here. Shasmita, so everyone do say hi in the chat. We are keen for you to all collaborate. But without further ado, because we're on the clock today, let's get coding. Do ask your questions as we go along. We're going to start right at the beginning, and we are actually going to create an open source repo, and then I'm going to hand over to Dima to do all the hard work. So what shall we call the project today? So this is our Eddie Hub organization. Let's create a new repo. We can rename this later, but what should we call it? Daily tips?
Yeah, sounds great.
Sounds good. And then we can say get, or maybe daily open source tip. No, daily tips, because we might branch out later. So get daily coding tips right to your favorite notifications. Favorite notifications, does that make sense? We can rename that later, and it's definitely going to be public. And we'll add a README, and we'll choose a license of MIT, and then I won't do a git ignore. Let's create it and let's go. Super excited. We're going to be using TypeScript today as well, I understand. So hopefully those of you, I think, Emma, you're in the audience and you said you were learning TypeScript soon as well, because it reminded you of Java, which I love as well. So makes sense. So Toma's happy to share that story. I think, yeah, that's something. If people are interested in that story, let us know in the chat. Write something like open source funding or something. I don't know, open source money. Let us know if you are interested in that. Okay, Dima, I need to add you as a collaborator on this so you can push directly to it. My password should come up. There we go. Yeah, my password is just password anyway, so that's a joke, by the way, everyone. A complete joke. So let's add people. And Dima, what is your GitHub?
It's Scopsy, SCOPSY. So it's like kind of the things that you do like when you're 12 or something, and like it sticks up for later ages.
Remind me, SCP.
SCO.
Oh, sorry.
PSY.
PSY. Okay, here we go.
Yeah,
Now it's you.
We can share that story about the name maybe like on another occasion.
Okay, so you should have admin access to that repo. And if anyone has any questions on creating that repo, let me know. I'm happy to answer that. Dima, I've just sent it to you in the private chat on StreamYard, just so you easy access to the repo. And if you've got Hitesh also laughing at your name as well. So Smita, don't worry. We're going to be talking about TypeScript. It's very similar to JavaScript with a few extra add-ons. So any questions, let us know in the chat. We will be answering those as well. Yes, and Emma will be here to help as well too. Cool. Okay. Do you have access to the repo? And let me know. I'll bring your screen up and you can start taking over. So maybe while you're just checking that, I'm just going to say, everyone watching, if you want some green squares, let me share the URL in the chat, but also raise some issues. So what we need is actually some issues on some tips. So we need some tips in this project. So if you've got some tips that are open source based, maybe add an issue to it, and you can get the green square and we can add it to the project shortly as well. Sorry, Dima, over to you.
Yeah, so what we will do right now, and this is something I've just done and I'll show you what exactly I did, is basically I went to the repository page we have on GitHub, and you have the code button right here, and you can basically copy the repository URL, and in your terminal I just run git clone. So obviously if you guys want to contribute to the project, you will have to fork it, but because Eddie just added me as a contributor, so I've just done the git clone directly. So just worth mentioning.
Can you make your terminal bigger, Dima? It's tiny.
Yeah, I'll just switch it over here.
Okay.
So let me see, and we can enter presentation mode as well. All right. So can you see the screen well?
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. How does everyone else think? Let us know.
All right, and let's open up the terminal. By the way, I'm using WebStorm. I know a lot of folks love VS Code, but I'm the WebStorm guy, like JetBrains. So what we're going to do today, like in a high level, basically we're going to keep it simple. And what we're going to do is we're going to create everything like kind of in a file system. We're not going to use like any fancy database or something like that. And we're going to create like just simple JSON files so you can contribute as well. So we're going to have two folders. We're going to have one folder with the tips. So basically it's a JSON format. We'll figure it out on the way. By the way, this is like a live session. We haven't like prepared like code snippets before, so we'll be like having the entire thought process and like making bugs and see how things don't
super
work.
Authentic. You're going to see everything, as we say in England. You're all going to see it, warts and all. It's not going to be polished. We haven't practiced this. Thank you so much for reminding everyone about that, Dima. That's so true.
Yeah, so basically what we are going to start with, and this is like the first thing you usually start a JavaScript project with, and this is basically creating the package JSON, like really the first commit comes in. So how we're going to do that? We're going to do an npm init command. Hope I did it correctly, and it suggests us the daily tips name, and I think it's great. We can just pass forward. It asks for a version. We can start with version 1.0. This is fine. Description, we can leave it empty for now, and we can always add stuff later. So we can just say yes to all of it and type yes to accept. And basically what will happen is we have added a package JSON to the project. And if you probably, some of the JavaScript folks already familiar to it. So it basically contains all the dependencies and dev dependencies our project will use. And one more thing we should be adding, and this is like more of a git ignore file. I can see it's because of the presentation mode, it's kind of big, so I'll just create like this, git ignore. And why are we doing this is basically because NPM will create a node models folder, and this is a folder we don't want to commit and push to GitHub. So basically what we'll say is like, hey, we want to ignore the git modules folder so it won't be committed with us. And as you've been mentioning before, we are going to use TypeScript here. So we have some setup to do in that regard as well. And basically TypeScript is just a way to compile JavaScript and provides more additional safety guards and types to the JavaScript language that does not contain it. So basically when you start a new project with TypeScript, you have to create something called a tsconfig. And this is something we can do. We'll be using, let me see, npx tsc. We have some autocomplete for our CLI, and basically it's saying tsc init. And what this will do is it added another file, and it's called the tsconfig, which basically specifies like the different configuration for TypeScript to work and some different optional parameters. But we are just going to leave this untouched raw version, and that's it.
So keeping it vanilla works well. So that's good to know. Awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Another thing we need to do is install the TypeScript package within our project so that people that can download the project later won't have to install it globally. So it will be all ready. And this is important thing for open source projects, is that you want to be it as simple as possible, not rely on any outside like dependencies and stuff like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to do an npm. Let's see, close it so it won't interfere with us. And we do npm I minus D. And the reason we're doing the minus D is because we want to install it as dev dependency, because the TypeScript package itself won't be bundled in the application, in the final application code. This is only needed for the development pod. All right, so what we're going to do is I
learned something new as well. I always use dash dash, the long form, dash dash save dash dev. So I didn't realize capital D was the shortcut. So I learned something new as well.
Yeah, let's see if it works, right? And another thing I love to do is when working with TypeScript and Node is a small package called tsnode. And basically tsnode, it's just like during a runtime, it just runs TypeScript instead of compiling the TypeScript and then running it again. So I'll show you in a minute how it works, but it really simplifies working with TypeScript in like various projects. And another thing we want to install is typesnode. And basically typesnode is a way for us to guide TypeScript and to say, hey, we are working in a Node.js environment. So it autocomplete like the different libraries and methods Node provides for us. So all of three of them, let's try to add this. We are seeing this, and we have the packages installed. So let's check it out in the dev dependencies. We can see we have typesnode, tsnode, and TypeScript. So this is, we have our initial scaffolding of the project. And the next thing we want to do is an easy way to run it, right? So basically, we have everything in place, and now we want to test the code we will create. And before we do that, let's just create like a sample file, and I'll put this in a folder called src. And this is just a convenient way to store all the TypeScript-related code in this specific folder. So if later we want to build it, we'll just have an src, which represents the source, and we have the output. It might be like a build or a dist. It have different names with time. So I'll just create like a simple file, and let's call it index.ts. And here is the TypeScript part coming in. It's not a JavaScript file, it's a TypeScript file. And then WebStorm will ask me if we want to edit, and let's do that. And just, as all the developers are doing, we will test with a very sophisticated method that our setup is working, and we do.
Hello world. Oh, mind reader.
This is live from YouTube. And we have that. And if you remember, we wanted to do like a start command. So I'll edit it here in the package JSON. Again, I could just run the package from the terminal, but I want it for the new people have an easy way to access and run it. So what we'll do is we'll have it right here in the package JSON. And notice the use of TS node. Basically, I'm saying like, hey, instead of using node, I'm just using TS node. And I'm saying, hey, TS node, please run for me the index.ts file. And now when I'm going back to the terminal and I'm doing npm start, let's cross fingers. And we have our console running. Yes. We passed it.
Who had doubts? I had no doubts. I knew it was going to be the first time.
Me neither. So first thing first, what we want to do is we want to push the code back to GitHub right now. So you all have the access before we continue to working on it. So this is like, like a kind of a guilty pleasure, you call it like this. I know a lot of people love to work with Git, like in the, CLI things and like be that hard code in the terminal. Actually, I really love, and this is like something I personally love doing, is it working with GitHub Desktop. And it's a very easy way to just visualize what's about to happen, what you're going to commit. So let me bring it up.
Interesting. I've never actually used it. I've never seen it. So I use the command line. So this is going to be great. I'm looking forward to this.
So this is especially for very good for beginners and also not for beginners. I just love to use it because I can see it like very easily how things are.
You will have to make it a bit bigger though.
Yeah, I hope I'm not sure how I can make it bigger. Let me see.
It's difficult to read.
Yeah, so I'll just
on view. What about on view? On the view option?
Let's see, view. Okay, and we have zoom in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go all the way. Hit that a few more times. Triple click it. I should say. Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
Yeah, I'm also learning new things. So if we look here at the daily tips, and I've just opened it, and what I can see already is we have like this sort of a kind of a mistake, because we see that some files that I didn't committed and I didn't want to commit, this is the idea folder. And basically what we want to do is we want to ignore it as well. We don't want to push it to the source code. So let's go back to the git ignore and let's add the idea folder right here. So now we see all the idea files are removed. And we can see that this is the files we're going to commit. We have the package log, we have the package JSON, index.ts, and all the tsconfig file we just added. So let's call it like, by the way, I also love to use Gitmoji. Did you familiar with it?
No, what's that?
So Gitmoji is kind of a way to add emojis to the commit messages you write. It just makes it really nice to see the change log. So for example, I can search for example, let's see if we have an initial commit or something like critical. So begin a project and let's go and have like these hooray things on it. So we can say initialize tips project like this. And we're going to commit these changes to main. Once we've done that, we can push it back to origin. And let's see if we have the correct of course not. Let's see if we have maybe I have to confirm something.
We didn't test this beforehand, which is purposely what we wanted to do.
Yeah, exactly. And what happened is that I got an email that Eddie wanted to invite me to collaborate on this project, and by default it does not accept. So I have to click the email and do accept invitation. And now I should be able to have the needed permissions to push this code out. So let's try it again. And it worked. Magic.
Yes. Perfect. Okay, so what we can do is, if you refresh the page, how does it look?
Let's do it. And we have our emoji here.
Awesome. I think you've got quite a few issues. If you make it a bit bigger, I can see a number next to issues.
Let's see.
All right. Make it bigger still. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. We have 5 issues. Thank you, everyone. That's lots of green squares. We will have some pull requests coming for you all soon as well to get you more green squares. So that looks good.
Amazing.
I have a suggestion for next, Dima. I have a suggestion. Let me just grab the screen share for a moment. So everyone, my suggestion is, I really want all of your feedback on it, is I think we should make the data folder and have the tips directory and maybe like the users directory. We can talk about the data structure, put one example in, and then people can start sending us pull requests for those while while you are building out the rest of the project, get those coming in. Another thing I want to recommend everyone to do is hide things you're not using. We're not going to use the wiki. Everyone knows I'm a huge fan of not using the wiki, not because I don't think documentation is important. Documentation is super important, but I like to put that in the project itself. And also, while we're setting an example in the data folder of the JSON, people can also update the README with some documentation, take the example of the JSON and maybe make some suggestions on the commands that are needed. We will use packages, so I'm going to leave that on the screen, and we will use releases later on. Maybe we won't get around to it today, and those are GitHub actions that you all can add, and we have some examples in the other EddieHub repos. I can talk about those later on. But let's get back to Dima for now, but hopefully that gives you all some food for thought. Okay, great. And just to recap, for anyone who's joining, we're making an open source app that's going to read in daily tips from JSON files that you're all going to add, and then it's going to send notifications either via email or SMS to the people that want to sign up, and they'll get a random daily tip. It's open source at the moment. It's an open source notification, but we might add in different categories that people add to in the future. As it's open source, we can do whatever you all want. So we're quite excited to grow on this. And we're going to use the Novu platform, which Dima is going to show us shortly. So none of you have missed that. It's an open source project, open source platform to send notifications and templates and lots of cool stuff. So we will get to that shortly. So I hope that helps, Yasin. Oh, and Emil has already answered that. So my bad. Okay, Dima, shall we? What should we do next? Should we do the data folder? What do you think?
Yeah, it's a great thing to do so people can start to see and add their own ideas. So let's start with creating the data folder with the surprising name of data. And then we're going to do another folder and it's going to call tips, right? And another folder we are going to do is called let's call it like subscribers, right?
Subscribers, nice.
And what we want to do is we want to add a new file, and this is going to be a JSON. And this is like, for this reason, we just wanted to make simple also for people that they can collaborate with the content. So we'll just keep it with JSON, submit it to the GitHub repository so people can see it, modify it. Like maybe if there is a mistake in a tip, they can open a pull request and fix it. And this is really the power of GitHub and open source, in my opinion. So let's call it like, let's do a first name, and the name of the file, we can do something simple like my handle on GitHub, and let's call it .json.
Is
and
this for the subscribers or for tips? Sorry.
For the tips.
I was going to suggest maybe using use in the subscribers, use your username, but in the tips, I would maybe make it more descriptive. So what's your tip about? What's your first idea for your tip?
So actually we can do, and this is something I've just before the stream, I've seen on your Twitter already, and you've been speaking about making pull requests as small as possible.
Yes.
Let's do that. Small pull request.
Perfect. Therefore, it's a little bit descriptive. So if people want to update it, they can find out which one it is a bit easier.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
This is why collaboration is so important. I love it. Having someone else review it, the amount of feedback I get from the community improving kind of things that I do is just awesome. I love it.
And this is like happening in Novu as well. Like, you know, when we put like some ideas, we think like that's the way to go. And you have like some other opinions from the other part of the world saying, hey, I've just like, maybe we can do it like this. And it's much better. And like the end product is becoming like much better and more readable for the users next.
Exactly.
So in the tips, we can basically, we're going to do like basically writing the JSON right down within the folder. And we're doing this because we're going to do a JSON parse down the road, so it will be easier for us to interact with the content within the JSON file. So what we can do here is we can have a content field. We can also have a field named maybe author. What do you think, Eddie?
Yeah, I think author would be good, but although the author might change, over time as it improves. I don't know. We put author. Let's add it for now. I think that's a good one. No, you're right. Let's do author. I think that's good.
Yeah, and by the way, we can do authors, and this is fine as well.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And if somebody like contributes to this tip, we can also add another authors down the road. So let's start with our first author, and let's call him Eddie. What's your handle on GitHub?
Just my name. So Eddie Jaude, EDDIE JAOUDE. Yeah.
Yeah, and I always love to make sure I add like the different words in my IDE. So like I add them to the dictionary.
Nice.
So just I don't have a mistake, and it's a real name. So let's do it like this. And the content. So do you want me? What was the exact message that you did?
The message was, I'm trying to think what the tweet was. I know that Emil is saying it's hard to break things into smaller pieces. We should always definitely try, I think, but sometimes it is difficult. I think I said the smaller the PR, the more likely it is to get merged, to get reviewed and merged, and the less likely it is to have conflicts. And again, someone can improve this, maybe word it a bit better and so forth, but this is a kind of a start.
We can start with it. And basically what we are going to do here is, do you think we should add something else here, Eddie?
Content name, maybe remove the @ because if we want to bring up the GitHub profile or something, the @ might break it.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I think that's good for now. What do you think? Authors and
start, and this is like, we can always iterate on that and like make sure that represent whatever we want to do. So I've just added this file, and what we can do right now is to push this file back to GitHub. So I can either use this one, so I can say, hey, and basically we want to do is feature, introduce new features, add data structure for our first tip. And we have a mistake here, and it's like this. We found it. And I'm going to push this. Let's go back to our repository and refresh. And we also see that we have the data tips folder. And by the way, we also see that we didn't have the second folder we added. And this is happening because we didn't put any files in it. And basically what there is like a way to manage this, and there is a file called git keep, which we can add, and this will like keep the folder within, but we we can begin and edit it later. It doesn't matter right now. So we have our first tip. What's the next thing? Should we?
Let's, I think we should maybe read that directory and we will pick a file at random, there's only one file, but hopefully people will create some new files in a moment and we can review and merge those pull requests. So maybe we'll start doing a bit of coding. Let's list the files in the tips directory and maybe pick one at random and just print out the contents of the screen or something to the console.
Yeah, let's do that. So basically what we want to start with, and this is really Node.js specific, and this is basically you have a couple of ways to do it, right? So one of the things, because we triggering this as a command line, we can wrap it in a called like a self-invoked function, or we can just call it right away. And the reason I'm doing a self-invoked function is basically, for example, imagine we have like a function called here, called start, right? And this might be like an async function because we maybe plan to do some async or promise-based calls in that. So if we are going to do await start, this is only going to work from a specific version of Node.js because it wasn't supported. It's called like a top level await, and it's not supported in all the Node versions. So what we can do is we can either omit the await and just call it, because like if it doesn't return a specific answer, so we don't have to do it. Or we can write, the syntax looks a bit weird. This is coming like from from a lot of the JavaScript we've done, like when before models and stuff. So basically we can wrap it like this, and then we can run the code. This is another way to do it. We can leave it like this, and it's fine. And then if anybody has like different ways to handle this without the top level await, so let me know. And what I love to do usually is like writing code is a lot of like an iterative process, right? So you eventually like make it work, and then you iterate over it and make it like nicer. Maybe you like modify and extract some functions. So this is how my process usually work when I'm kind of, creating and writing code. So I will start with something simple as basically we want to read all the contents of this tips folder. And the way we can do that is using the Node.js FS, and this is the file system module, basically saying FS, and we have read here, and you can see like this is some of the TypeScript and also WebStorm completions we have. And we have read dir sync, and we have read dir without the sync part, and I'll explain in a bit what's the difference. One thing you'll notice is that I forgot to import this, and I can either do it manually or I can use WebStorm to help me out with it. And we can see the import is added. Next thing, we want to specify what directory are we going to read, and we want to see. And basically, what we're telling here is that we are using the dir name, and this is just a way to make sure that we are always running this command from the current location we are in right now. So we can do a dir name, and then we can add a data tips. And what will happen is that we'll be reading the directory for all of the files here. And then let's save the result of it in a variable and call it files. And if you remember, we spoke about read dir sync and read dir, and basically there is a kind of a difference between both of them. And basically read dir sync is a lot easier in terms of like working with the function. And you have read dir, which works with a callback. So if you are working in more of a async function, using like async await or that sort of stuff, it will be much easier for us to work with read dir sync. But when you're working with like production level, like huge application that does more than one thing, like because this application only does this, we are not afraid that it's going to be like concurrent requests coming in, because what will happen is that Node.js will block the thread and nothing else. If you had like a real API with coming in requests, if there's a big file and it's like a lot of files in the file system, it will block it and people can't like make another request. But because this is just a CLI tool and we are running it for the entire purpose of this, this is fine right now, and this will make the syntax a bit more nicer. So the next thing we can do is, obviously, we want to check like, hey, let's see what's the output of this, and we can either run the debugger with this or just the old school way of doing a npm run and log the results out. So let's try it. Okay, so we got the output result, and basically it says like, hey, this is the small pull requests .json file, and we can see it's in array because it might be like more files within this.
I am refreshing the repo. We have no pull requests yet, but Emma is working on it already while doing a day job at the same time. So thank you so much, Emma. And while I've interrupted you, let me ask a question from Toma. What about Dino? What are your thoughts on Dino?
Yeah, so actually I haven't like really had a chance to work with Dino for quite a while. I've read about it, and I think they fixed a lot of the issues Node.js have, and it might be, I think the biggest one for me, it was the concept of permissions. So basically the Node.js, when it runs in the scope, it can literally access like a lot of the file systems within the environment in which the Node.js process runs. And then Dino, what I believe they fixed a lot of this stuff. But I really haven't had like a chance to check it out thoroughly. So, but if you have any experience with it, I'd love to hear about it.
I haven't played with Dino. I was about to get into it when it was up and coming and everyone was really excited about it, and it kind of didn't become so popular and people said not to, and I think even the Dino creators said don't use it in production. So I just thought, okay, maybe not then. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's really like the community is really growing around, and I think one thing that makes a good framework or language great is the community around it, because when you're stuck, when you need help, like this is the place where having a big community really comes in when choosing like a language to use in your next project.
Yeah, and we're actually going to talk a bit about that. Novu has a great Discord. It's really well organized. We're going to chat about how you can kind of chat to the team at Novu, everyone as well. So if you enjoy talking to Dima and Toma, and Emil is also from Novu, who's in the chat as well, then we'll talk about that and bring that up towards the end as well. So do stick around.
Amazing.
And actually, I think we had some giveaways, but I completely forgot to talk to Toma about that. I think we did briefly touch it. So next live stream, everyone, we will do some giveaways. I'm pretty sure Toma said yes, and I forgot to mention it. We forgot to talk about it and confirm what it was. So Toma, make a note, and that's something we need to do on the next live stream.
All right. So the next thing we want to do is create this random file, and this basically random tip out of the tips folder. So one thing we can do, and again, we're keeping things here simple. And this one, I never remember how to do it. So I'm just like always going to Google for this. So this is like real me,
That's fine. Google's our best friend, right? If someone says don't use Google, they're clearly lying. We cannot remember everything, and things are changing all the time. And I would have done the exact same thing. Even before the live stream, I actually had to remind myself how to read the file system, because I just haven't done it in so long. I was thinking, oh my God, how do I read the file system? What is it? So good news is Toma says we can do giveaways. So everyone, make sure you raise issues and pull requests, and we will pick 5 people who can get swag giveaways. So yes, I think we agreed swag. Toma, correct me if I'm wrong, but we will do that. Also, we've had some pull requests come in, so we're going to look at those shortly as well. We'll get Dima to do the this part, and then we'll look at the pull request as well.
Amazing. So I've just done as any like normal, developer would do, is copy pasted things from Stack Overflow. And basically what's going on, I'm just trying to fix. I have this kind of tendency to do all the spacing in the way that it's easier to read. And we can see that TypeScript is mad at us about like this min and max, and let's see why. And basically what it says, it has an any type, and this is kind of the magic of TypeScript. And by the way, I can like mitigate these errors in the tsconfig file we discussed earlier. But basically what we want to do is create like this, what's the type of min? So basically when somebody uses this function, it will be predictable and they can understand what they need to pass in, and don't make like any bugs in the data structure they pass into it. So basically we are saying that min is a number, and we're saying that max is a number as well.
Dima, if I may jump in as well, just to say, I know people that are watching this thinking, well, if you're going to use the function, get random number 4 lines up, why do you need to know it's a number? It's obvious. But when you're working on a bigger project and you've got different files and you want to use the get random number function, it is important to know what the type is so you don't get any weird errors. Yes, Java wouldn't compile, but with JavaScript, it will say yay, and everything will be fine. So TypeScript really helps reduce that. So this is great.
Exactly, and this is thing you can go with TypeScript really like as deep as you want in terms of the implementation. It can be really super simple with just a few things, and don't have like these types of error. Me personally, I really love to have this thing on board from the reasons we just mentioned. So you've seen we have a min and a max, and I will explain in a minute like why do we need it. Because we don't want like any, a random number. We want a random number that is based on the number of active files we have within the repository. So basically what we are going to do is say const random keep position and we're going to call the get random number, and it's saying us, hey, we have two parameters here. So the first one, we are going to do 0, and this is because this is an array, and like the first accessory is 0, and the maximum is going to be files dot length, and this is basically should give us any random number between the length, obviously, of the response of the reader sync. So once we have that, we can say const selected tip, and we can say files in the position of random tip position. So again, we can do it the old school way. I can just show, if you guys want, how we can debug this thing. I think debugger is like a super important part. And I think, let's see if it's without any setup. If I go with WebStorm and I run, and VS Code obviously might have like a different way of doing so. So I can hover on the start here, and I can click on the green arrow, and I can say debug start. And basically what will happen is that now the code will run, and we can see that we stopped in the debugger on this line that I put the red dot on. And this is really helpful if you want to inspect, like, hey, what's going on with the current scope of the function, as opposed to just like doing a console log files, which gives us a single environment without really understanding like what's going on. So I can see we have the files, we have the random tip position, and it's at 1, so that's good. We didn't have like a tip number. Yeah.
Like 4.5.
Yeah, but I think we do have a bug here, right? Because if we're doing like a position that says 1, and we have only one item in the array, it should be like the position -1, right? So what we can do is we can either say random position tip -1, or we can say the file length -1, and let's see what will happen. And this is an interesting one. So we got 0, and probably we'll get 0 like each time we run it, if you look at it again. And this is okay because we have only one tip, and we're still waiting on the pull request to come in. And the next thing we want to do is we want to read the JavaScript file out of the file system, because we have its name, but we don't have its content. And this is the thing we want to get out. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to use another FS file system function, and it's going to call read file sync. And again, as we spoke earlier about like using sync versus the usual method, here it's fine. If you're working with an API that got request, you can wrap it with read file and work with the callback version, or work with something like there's some libraries that wrap it in a more nicer syntax for like promises, but we can use it like here. And then what we want to say is we want to have the dir name again, and we want to say data tips, and we want to do the selected tip as the last parameter, right? And we can restart the debugger again. And we can see in the debugger, the file content is kind of strange, right? It says buffer. It's instead of like the thing we really expected it to have. And the reason it's happening is because we must specify like the specific Unicode, or like in our case, it's going to be an UTF-8 encoding for this file, because this was the default and it's the simplest one to work with. So let's try it again. And now we can see we have this content here. And if we'll try to interact with it, like for example, get us like the file content dot authors, we'll have an error because it's a string. And what we need to do is we have to do a tip, and basically it's going to be a JSON parse. Here, and run it again. And basically now we have a JavaScript object with all the contents we need in a way we can work with. So we got our random tip. we can now have its content, and now we should talk about like how we deliver this to someone else. And so let's see, do we have any questions in the chat or something people are wondering about?
I have a question. We've got some PRs. Oh, so we do have some questions from Toma. Look at Toma getting into the coding stuff. That's cool.
Yeah.
String concatenation, we're using TS. So yes, you could put the backticks and then the dollar and the curly braces around it as well, which is it came out in ES6, if I remember correctly, which is quite popular to use rather than using the plus to concatenate the variables and strings. Yeah, there's a few ways to do it. I think for now we can let someone submit a pull request to improve that later on if they want that. Even Nevo also wants backticks as well. No worries. Dima's going ES5, old school. But let me steal back the screen share for a moment and let's have a look. Right, and refresh the screen again. We have 5 issues and 4 pull requests. Let's have a look at our issues. So we've got some issues, tips 1, tips 2, tip 3. Awesome, loving this. So one of them is not as a pull request yet. That's fine. Let's go to the oldest one first. Thank you, Emma. Great pull request. This is the author. Perfect. Hopefully that's your GitHub username. And then sudo code your code. Before you write your code, write down all the individual steps you'll take. Love that. So we're going to hit review. Sorry, it's late for me. Review, and we're going to say thank you. And then we're going to approve it. And we will merge that in. I'm going to follow. I'm just going to hit merge now. Later on, we'll squash it and we can go into more details on why we're going to do that. So let's get that merged in. So if we now go to the source directory and then data tips, you'll see now we have got 2, which is great. So we need to do a few more. Let's get a few more in. So when Dima reruns the code, the list will be greater. We'll still be picking 1 at random, but it should change every time. And also the list of the files read will increase as well. Also, if anyone wants some more pull requests because they can't think of tips, then do have a look at other things we do on the EdiHub projects. Look at the link-free project as an example, and you will see we have issue templates, we have GitHub Actions, we have lots of stuff. So you can add those as issues, as ideas, and you can also add them as pull requests. And most of the GitHub Actions and templates are copy and paste. So go have a look at those. Next up, we have Praduma. Okay, let's have a look. Always look for open issues before opening a new one. Great tip. Love that.
This is a good one.
This is brilliant. Okay, let's get that merged in as well. Perfect. Susmita, thank you so much for the tip. And his open source is a great way to meet new people over the world and collaborate with them and learn together. It's also a great opportunity to have a real life development experience. Very true, and learn new skills. Don't miss out the chance. Cheer up and get into open source as soon as possible. Beautiful, as soon as possible. Love that. Okay, let's get that merged too. Okay, I think that was the last one. Oh, there's one more. 5 minutes ago, my bad. Find a community. Find a community to help and support you on your coding journey. Even better, work on projects together, collaborate and share ideas. Love that. Let's get that in as well. Okay, so Dima, you will need to do a pull to get the latest changes.
Yes, we will do it in a second. And we'll also push our changes back to the GitHub repository.
Let me bring your screen up. There you go, all yours.
Right, so let's introduce new features and add a random tip fetch. We'll commit this and we'll push it, and it will say we also have some new tips coming in our way. So let's get them. All right, and let's push our latest changes. And now let's check our tips folder. Look at that, how many tips. That's cool. Amazing. So what I've done in the time you've been checking out the pull request, I've just extracted the get random tip to a function, so we have like a better scope, and just call get random tip and get a tip without the implementation details. And so this is the part where we want to get, first of all, the subscribers. And what we can do is I've added a scoopc.json file, and basically this is just me with my email. We can also do like a phone number if we want, but let's just leave it with an email for now. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing. We're going to fetch the subscribers from there as well. So we can do like function get subscribers. And a lot of the things we are going currently just to copy paste, and we are, if you want to send us a PR and extract it a bit more and make it like more of a functional level, so feel free to do it. For now, we'll just shamelessly copy and paste it. Subscribers, we don't need to get like any random item here. So basically, we're going to do like for file of files.
Interesting. You do a for. I usually use a map. So it's interesting to see how other people do it.
Yeah, we can definitely do a map here. So
no,
we can say
for is fine. I rarely use for, so it's really interesting to see you use it. So no, please go ahead. It's great to see a different implementation. This is great.
Sure. So basically, for each file, what we want to do is we want to have like the specific file in the subscribers folder, right? And I can see we have a lot of duplication, so we can just say const subscriber folders. And this is like the iterative process I've been speaking about. Like when you see like a repeating pattern, we can just like do it like this. And we can edit like here. And we can even use, I'm just so used to work with the Prettier, and like he just does things for me. But here we are really vanilla here without Prettier in the project, so we can just do it like this, and we can add a file like here. Prettier in ESLint can help, like after you save it, it just converts like to the practice of the repo. So, but for now it's good enough. So now we can check the subscribers, and this is like the part where like I see it really makes more sense to do a map. And for the reason, like I think what I do love to use for loops, but in this specific occasion, I think if we want using this, so we have to do like const subscribers, and we have to do it an empty array, and then we have to push the subscribers with the file content, and we do like a JSON parse file content. So we can definitely do it like this. We can just convert it into a map. So for now, let's just leave it like this. But I think a map would look nicer on this. Totally agree with you on that. So let's now go back to our main function and have subscribers and call the get subscribers method. And now let's see if after we do the reload, if it still compiles and works. And this is always the feeling, you know.
This is why automated testing is really also interesting, and it's a conversation for another time, everyone, but something definitely to look into as well.
Definitely. And so we have our subscribers here. So this worked. We have a new tip, which I haven't seen before, by Emma. So this is great. So we have our new tips coming in. So the next thing we want to do, and this is where Novu comes in to play, right? And this is the portion when we want to send a notification to a specific user. And it might be like in different channels. And what we've seen from our previous experience is that usually when an application, like you need to communicate with your users, like when something happens, somebody like mentioned you in a comment, like some specific behavior happened, they have a new visitor, and you want to notify this for the users. And you have a lot of channels to do so these days. You have like a phone, and you have an email, and you have Slack, and you have like the in-app notification centers. You have all of these channels. And I think our goal with Novu was really to, kind of unify this under a single API, under a single place, and maybe down the road help even to create more of a complex use cases. So for example, we want to schedule or delay a specific message, or like make sure that the users don't get like 100 emails, so we can only like digest them into a single email, even though we have like 100 events coming in. So Novu is 100% open source, so you can check the code out. Maybe I think it's in the chat somewhere. You can check it out on GitHub .novuhq.
I will drop it in the chat, but it's also in the description below. But I will drop it in the chat as well.
Yeah, so like the entire code is there. So we have like, I can go a bit like in a very quick way around like the different parts of the project. But basically, we have like more of the admin panel, and this is where you manage all the content, you manage all the channels. So you have like a very easy way to manage like the different channels and how they look and what they contain in terms of the content. And if you go to the apps folder, you have the web, and this is the project. I'll show you in a minute how it looks. We've just added like a dark mode support, so I'm super excited about it. And this is how the admin panel looks like, basically. So you have like different areas here, and in a minute I'll explain like what each does. But one thing we'll start with is we want to create a new notification template, right? And it's basically to say like, hey, this is our notifications, and we can call it with the name of the notification like daily tip. And we can say it's in the general group, we won't touch it for now. And then we have like different channels we can attach the notification to. So we can create content for an email, we can create content for an SMS, and we have like the in-app notification center. This is something really cool Novu provides you as well. And it's basically like if you press on the bell, and we use Novu in Novu as well. So this is kind of an inception.
Inception, or what do we say in England? Eat your own dog food. I don't understand what that doesn't make. Like, it's a stupid expression, but it's something that everyone uses. So great to see that. And it's all open source, which I really, really love. So everyone, if you're using Novu and you want to host it yourself, you can. Or if you find any issues or any ideas or bugs, you can contribute it and so forth. And again, at the end, we'll go through some of the repo and just, talk about a bit about it as well if we've got time. Hopefully we have. So
yeah.
Sorry, Dima, back over to you.
Yeah, let's do it. So in this app, we won't have a notification center, so we can just focus on the email right now. So we can say, so when we open the email editor, so basically we have two ways to interact with the email. So we can either use like a very basic, kind of editor, visual editor, so we can add like buttons and text, or we can use like more of a custom code and provide like more of a custom HTML. In both ways, we can use handlebars as a templating engine that we can create like custom variables and like more of a complex workflows. We won't be doing like something really complex right now. So I will be just doing something simple, and we can maybe, if we have time, to discuss a bit more complex use cases. So in the title, let's say something like your daily tip has arrived. And in the content, we can say something like, hi, we can see, is it like a username? And here you can see the handlebar syntax, right, coming in, which we can specify like custom variables in it. And we can say like, here is your daily tip. And basically, when we added the daily tip, what happens next is we can add the content within the content that basically contains the tip itself. And this is something we will pass as we're doing like more of the trigger of the notification, and we'll see in a minute how it works.
Could you zoom in a bit, please? It's quite small for us.
Yeah. Let's. I've learned a new shortcut, and we can.
Yeah, Apple Plus, perfect.
Yes. And so we added the content, and this is like our initial content, so we can see it in action really soon. And after that, I can just type on create the notification itself. And basically what we see is that we have received like a small snippet that basically will trigger the notification in the right area within our code itself. So we can see that we're using a new library here called Novu node, and we can go back to our code, go to the packages. We can either install it within PMI, we can just write it. I so much love this feature. I think we have it in VS Code as well. But basically it says like you can like this, and it will say like what's the latest version available of the library. And then it prompts me to install the new changes it sends. And then I'm going back to the trigger itself. And I'm going to just copy paste this area from here. And I'm going to do like this. And we're going to await. So basically, each notification have a specific event ID, and this is the event ID was created for us. And this is like for the API to really know like what's the notification we're about to trigger and what's its contents and what channels does it have, and like really contains all the template around it. So basically, this is the trigger, and you can always access it from this view right here. So after we added it, what it asks us in the snippet provided is basically the two variables we did in the content itself. So we have the username and the content as well. And we have the email property. And basically, this is like, where are we going to send this to and what is the recipient name? So we can do another for loop here, as you love, Eddie. Yeah. And we can trigger the snippet for each specific user within it. So we can use the user ID, and this is like more of a unique identifier of a specific user that is going to receive it. So we can just say subscriber, and we can see that there is a property named email, and we can like create another TypeScript interface for it easily, but I just remember it's called email. And then we have the username. So I think we don't have the username ready available because it's coming from the...
Yeah, so we can return it because we have the file name is their username.
Yeah, exactly. And then we can do like username, and then we can say file this. And what will happen is we'll basically have the JSON in it. So what we can do is we can replace it just in a simple way. We can do like more of a complex regex if we want to later, but for now, let's just leave it like this.
I think file won't be JSON though. File will be, oh, I have the JSON, extension. You're right. Yes.
Yeah. We just want to have hi scoopsy.json.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, and then we actually can use it also as the ID instead of the email, and then we can say subscriber username right here. And then we have the tip content, and basically we have the tip.content available right here. And we have the subscriber dot email as the email that we are going to send it here. And we can notice that there is one thing that is missing, and this is basically the API key for Novu. And this is a way that you can authenticate against the API. And it doesn't matter if it's self-hosted, you run it via Docker, or using like the free cloud version we have. But it's basically something you need to get. And this is just like a demo project, so we can, I'm not afraid, so you guys can see it, so there's no problem.
Reset that key afterwards.
Yeah, it's just a test project. I'll delete it afterwards, so no worries about it. And what we want to do is I don't want to commit this to to the GitHub itself, so I will do like the Novu API key, and I will just add it right here. And basically what will happen is we need to specify it in some way within the project. So one of the things we can do it, and I really love .env for this, and we are running over time, so I'll try to do it a bit more faster so we can make it. Using Google again is my good friend. And for some
no worries. While you're doing that, I'm going to share the Novu GitHub repo link in the chat. Everyone is also in the description below. I do see some more pull requests coming in as well. I've got 2 pull requests open and 7 issues. If your pull request has been merged and you raise an issue for it, then do close your issue with a comment. If not, we can do that later on.
Definitely. And then we can do like this. And .env is basically something that will pull out the environment variables from a file we want commit to Git. And this is basically, I'm just going to put it on top like this. And we added like an env file, and I'm going back to the git ignore, and I'm going to do like this again, src-env. We don't want to commit this, but we do want to create an example file, so people can just see it as a template. Novu API key and replace it API. Right, and I'm going to add the real API key here again.
Nobody look. Close your eyes.
Nobody look. All right, and then I'm going back. And basically what will happen right now is that we will have this using .env, which will just replace it in the runtime and it extract all the variables from here and just give it for us to use. So we can do another breakpoint. We can go back to start, debug it, stop and rerun. And let's see if we got it correctly. So we have the Novu API key is undefined, and let's see why it might be like this. So one thing that might happen, and this is we just like misspelled the name, and let me just double check, and this is correct.
The misspelling happens a lot.
Yeah, and one thing that might happen is that we might specify the path for .env, and it might
usually it's in the root of the project. I think that's why.
Exactly. This is a good one. So let's just.
I was thinking that's going to be my first PR, but it looks like you beat me to it.
Let me, because without it, it just wouldn't work, right?
Unless you specified the path, but yeah, it's probably best just to put it in the root.
Exactly, and we see like WebStorm was smart enough to also refactor the locations of it, so that's
nice.
Well, and we don't need the path if we are correct with this one. So let's try again.
Fingers crossed. Everyone out of 10. What do you think is going to work? I think like an 8 is going to work. An 8.
Yes. We have it.
Perfect.
Nice. That was a good one, Eddie. Thank you.
I helped for once. Usually I'm breaking stuff. So, so that was great. I'm glad I could help. Everyone saw this. This was live on the internet in public. I actually helped someone for once. So,
yeah. Amazing. So once we specify that and we do the trigger, we have one part that's missing, and it's basically connect the different delivery providers we want to use to send this email out. So if you go back, and this is like really an amazing thing, because Tomer and I, when we just started, we think I created like maybe, 1 or 2 providers, and people jumped in and, hey, we use in our work like this specific provider and like this email provider from Singapore and like from all around the world. People just contributed the providers they use. So currently we have all of these providers available to integrate. And in this integration, I've just added, I've created a free account on SendGrid. And this is like one of my favorite email providers. They're basically just working. They're really good at sending emails, and we're just going to use them. And we're using Twilio for SMS. So basically to connect a provider, all you need to do is just click on connect, provide the different credentials needed for this specific provider, set it as active, and then the API will handle all the routing. So you can connect multiple providers and switch between them really easily without being too coupled to a specific provider within. So I've already added SendGrid and Twilio in. So basically what will happen is that the Novu API will use the SendGrid connection to send the email notification and the Twilio to send the phone and SMS notifications with. So if you're going back and let our code run, let me see. Okay. So basically, we went to the tip breakpoint. That means that this part of the code has run successfully, and we went to the last part of the code. So basically, what we can do, if I will just check out my email account, let me see.
While you're checking that, do you need a minute to check it? I can go look at pull requests. Have got new pull requests, but if you're ready, then go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just put it on the screen.
Perfect.
Let me do it like this. And we have the mail arrived coming in from the, like with the title, we have your daily tip has arrived. We have the hi Scoopsy, and this is our username coming in and replaced in real time. And we have our daily code within it. So basically what we can do later is maybe we can do some more styling into the HTML and make it look a bit better. But this is like really our first subscriber getting the first random notification to his email account. So this is great. Let's
Looks good. We got notification coming through. We actually have a question from Carl. Carl is one of the Eddie Hub maintainers, and Carl asks, could you run this app as a webhook and integrate it with multiple blogging services to send you SMS when one of them publishes a new post? So the app we're making at the moment doesn't have a webhook, but there's no reason why we couldn't expose something. I suppose the question is, would those platforms have the ability to send data to a webhook? I suppose that's the question.
So I think one of the technologies that is quite available for this sort of stuff is maybe RSS even. And it's quite an old technology, but a lot of blogs provide it. So you can create, like, it's a good idea for an open source project. So you can like subscribe to different, blogs you like, maybe on Dev2, and just fetch the RSS feed and make sure like, hey, we have something new, let's send it to people. That's a great idea, by the way.
I like that. That is very cool. It's like a notification aggregator from different platforms. That's very cool.
Exactly.
Carl has so many projects already. I think a few more will be fine. Carl codes when he's asleep. He's like asleep, and his hand's still like coding away on the keyboard.
Yeah. And this is like the thing, with, I think like this is the amazing thing with open source, and it's like you have so many ideas, so many people are jumping in like, hey, we can do that, and like this is things you haven't imagined for yourself doing. This is like really, I think, novel for us, and like we have already around 40 different contributors from around the world, bringing so many color and so many ideas in, like they have experience with something within their workplace, and they'll just bring it in, create an issue or even a pull request, and like it all in the end like it's out there, and we have it like in a single place with so many people jumping in and suggesting things. So do we have any other questions from the chat?
I have a question as well. So this ran, you got the email. So if we scroll down to the bottom of the code, how does it end? Could we maybe do a console log with the amount? Could we console log out which tip was sent and to how many people, just so we kind of get a result in the console?
Yeah, definitely. We can do something like console log, and then we say we can even do like multi-line. We can use, there are some really nice a library called Chalk, I think, and they create, like, you can create different nice looking logs, especially good for like CLI projects like this. And basically what we can do is we say like the daily tip that was selected. We can say a tip dot content by tip dot author.
Give the author a shout out as well.
Yes, and we can do it like, and because it's an array, we can just like do a toString, and it's basically like we'll convert it in like a comma separated.
It's perfect.
Yeah, and then the notification was sent to, and we can do like the subscribers dot length people, and we can remove the tip from here. And then we have the console log. We can run it again just to see if it works.
And Carl has just given me an idea for another project to integrate with one of Carl's projects. But give me a moment. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's see this. It worked.
Yes, and we have like a new tip by Susmita Day, which is a great tip. Open source is a great way to meet new people. Totally
awesome. Well, we're going to check this works with multiple people. So in a minute, I'm going to add my email address. If anyone wants to add theirs, you can copy Dima's JSON file and put your own in. But it's before we get into that, I'll forget my idea. So I actually want to jump in and say my idea. So Carl mentioned notification platform, but Carl, I was thinking potentially using something like this, but for your good first issue project. So Carl has a project called Good First Issues on the Eddie Hub, and I was thinking it could pick a random good first issue and send it to people who would like one, and don't send them the same one. So like if you've got a list of, I don't know, 20 good first issues, then you pick a random one and you send it to one person, then that's kind of removed off that list for that day, if that makes sense. It's not removed off the list that's displayed in the app, but in terms of notifications, then you can just pick another random one and send it to the next person on the list. Therefore, if people want to sign up, they can get daily good first issues. But the next day, if nothing's been assigned to those issues, then it can pick up the same issue and send that to somebody else, which is maybe on that day, that issue doesn't get resent. So just food for thought, but yeah, some good ideas about that.
This is a great idea.
Okay, this is looking good. So let me steal the screen share back if that's okay, Dima.
Yeah, sure.
And we can see that if I do a refresh, we've got 11 issues and 5 pull requests. We have been going for an hour and 15.
Look at that.
That is awesome, right? We have been going for an hour and 15 minutes. I know we still want to do the giveaway as well. So we will have to go through these quite quickly. So we've got some more. I think this is another tip coming in as well. Perfect. We should have had a hyphen in there, but someone else can fix that. We're not going to block it for now. For authors, always try to create your own projects to encourage yourself. Okay, let's get that merged in. And then we're going to quickly run through these really quickly. And then we can always go through and tidy it up and improve these things. I've actually got an idea of some tweaks I would like to make to this project as well. So it should be quite good fun. Another one from Produma as well. Don't hesitate in reaching out to maintainers if you're stuck and solve an issue. I'm more than happy to help you. Exactly. Okay. This merged as well. So hopefully people are also adding themselves to the list. Actually, I should add myself to the list and we can do another test. So I'll come back to PRs in a moment. Let me do the same. So we've got, you need to push your,
yeah.
You can do that.
So let's push my thing up.
And from Emma, learn the fundamentals. Frameworks come and go, but the focus is strong foundational knowledge. Yes. Okay, perfect. Loving all these green squares everyone's going to get, and 5 people are going to get some swag giveaways as well. You all saw it in the chat. Toma approved. Okay. Look. Remember to close any issues where the PR's been merged already. More green squares equals more open source. Yes. Perfect. Also, by me reviewing these and merging these, I'm getting some green squares as well. So thank you all so much. Yeah. Green squares for everybody. Exactly. Create the issue first. Perfect. Okay. Okay, better hit merge on that one. And I'm going to create a pull request as well. So hopefully Dima or yourselves can review and approve it. So what I'm going to do is go into data and go into subscribers. And I want to put myself down in subscribers. So what I'm going to do, it's email. Okay, so I'm going to cheat and just, I think there's a copy button up here now. Yeah, copy.
Yeah, I think it's a new one, right?
It is, yeah. It came out a few months ago, like a month ago, or maybe 2 months ago. So create new file. It's going to be my username. Oh, not like that. Should paste first. The file should be my username. Oh no, I've copied and pasted it now. Here we go.
Copy paste everything.
Yes, even the title. Okay, and it's not your email, it's my email. And what is my email? I'm trying to think now. It is that one. Here we go. So I'm going to create that. Oh, I shouldn't create domain, create a pull request. Yes, please. And I'm going to be really naughty and not raise an issue and not write anything in there. So we've already got a template in there, which is great. Okay, so there's a pull request if anyone wants to review. Code of conduct as well. Look at these pull requests coming in as well. This is great. Perfect. I think this is from the template, which is great. Thank you. You know, everyone knows I love a good code of conduct. Dima, how's my pull request? Look good?
Looks good. Yes, let's approve it.
Perfect. And then the other thing I wanted to show people, if you also want to get ideas, you can compare our other Eddie Hub projects, but also you can go to Insights tab, go to Community Standards, and you can see what is missing. We now have a code of conduct. Thank you so much. We're missing a contributing file. So there's other ways you can have a look at that. Okay, and mine has been merged. So if we go back to Dima's screen and we can run it again, I got some shout outs as well. Thanks for the live session. You're welcome. Toma's given the thumbs up to Swag. Carl's been in open source 1 year this Friday and has got an open source job at Gitpod as well, which is awesome. Love that. Okay.
So let's see if we haven't broken anything between now and then.
2 users. 2 people.
And it sent to 2 people. Amazing.
I got it. And I should get the same tip as you. So I'm not showing my screen. So Dima can't see the tip that I got. But we're going to see if we got the same tip. It says, here is your daily tip. The smaller the PR, the more likely it will be reviewed and merged. So hopefully Dima got the same tip as well.
Amazing. And what I'm sharing right now is basically Novu provides like a way to see like the activity feed of the different messages sent to the different channels. So you can just see it all in one place if there's some error happening or like what's going on. So we can see we have quite a lot of activity today, and we have these 2 notifications sent, and we can see like when it's happened. We can't see like the contents of it, but we can see like the different metadata associated, like was it successful? So we have the green button right now. So one of the things we're super excited about to maybe implement in the future, and this is also to integrate like the different providers, making the webhooks back to the Novu platform. So we can see like, for example, if an email was bounced or there's an issue with the email. So this is something you can see in the activity feed as well, really soon, hopefully.
That sounds going to be really good. I think, you know, you've recently launched this. This is going to get some serious changes. And as more people use it, you're going to get some feedback and contributions because it's open source. It's open source, which I absolutely, absolutely love.
I think for me, like, you know, if people are learning React, for example, basically like the entire thing you see here is just a React project. So if you go back to the apps folder and you click on the Novu apps and web, basically you can see like the entire code of this, right? So you can, if you're learning and just starting out with React, you can check it out, see how it's structured. You can see the different components and how it's built. We have a beautiful design system built by one of the contributors for us, Gali. She created like these different components we are using, and you can just import them and use them as well. We probably will create a library out of it as well, so you can just like import it directly, maybe down the road. But all the code is available, like all the API code that we've seen before, like it's all here. We use Node.js and TypeScript as well. So you can check it out in the Novu GitHub repository as well.
Great. We do love open source repositories. This is perfect. And so people do get involved. And it's great that you've got so many contributors already making improvements all the time as well. Okay, so I've just merged Produma's PR that adds their email address. There would be 3 now as well, 3 tips. One thing I would like, if we can do, Dima, is to the email, can we add the author of the tip? I think that'd be quite nice to include
definitely.
As well.
And this is like the thing with Novu. It's basically I can go back to the template. I don't have to change like my code. So basically I can just come here and say this tip is authored by, and we can add like an author name, for example, here. And we can just update the template. And after that, what we need to do is, if you look, we have like the trigger snippet updated, and we have added the author name as additional parameter that we want to send to the platform as well. So basically what we're going to do is we are going to add the author name, and the author name is tip.authors. And we can do the same trick, like it will happen even if we don't do so, but we can just do like this, and it will basically translate it. So we can send it again. And we have a new tip by Iwani. That's great. I love every time you run the process, it's like you get a new tip. This is so cool.
Yeah. But if you do a pull, you will have 3 people next time round as well, because we've got Praduma in there, and Susmita is going to add theirs too as well.
Amazing.
So we do have that. So I'm just conscious of time as well. I do want to allow some time for the giveaway. Also, what else do we want to cover, Dima, too? Is there anything else that you want to cover on the Novu platform? If anyone has any questions, do let us know in the chat as well.
Yeah, so I think like in that terms, like there's really like Novu is really in the early days. So this is quite exciting project, you know, to join in, because we have like so many cool ideas to implement, and we're trying to like collect all the feedback we get and to provide like, this is just like, you know, the beginning of what we imagine to do here. So if anyone is like, so obviously we didn't use like a lot of channels right here. We didn't use like the embeddable notification center in this specific project, but like for me personally, like every time I'm like starting a new project, and like, you know, you have this like beautiful template, and you just go to the notification bell and you just delete it because you just don't have time to build this from scratch and like create the API for that and all of that. And this is like one of the reasons that we were behind like Novu, is making this, create this once and for all kind of, you know, out of the developer frustration of repeating yourself all the time. So yeah, so a lot of new exciting things coming on. Would really appreciate like if people have any feedback. So basically, to create this account, you can do it in 2 ways. So basically, if you go to the README, we have 2 ways to onboarding, and this is like the Novu API and admin panel, which is currently in alpha. Basically, you just run npx Novu init from your terminal, and this will prompt you to either create a free cloud account. We don't charge any money for the cloud version, just want to have people to play with it and interact with it and like learn the different use cases. Or you can just run the Docker environment. And this is basically going to be a Docker compose. So you can see all the documentation available also in Novu Docker. So basically you clone the repository, you enter the Docker, and you do a Docker compose app. But you have to have like the prerequisites of Docker and Git on your machine to do it. Or you can just use like the free cloud version and just to play with it, test it, and see it for yourself if you're interested.
Well, that sounds great. I think we all look forward to having a play. Praduma's already saying they're already on the Novu API. Okay, nice. Praduma's very fast, straight on it already as well. And if someone can raise an issue that we should add a screenshot to the README as well, I will do that. I've taken a screenshot of the latest tip with the author as well. So I'm keen to add that as well. Hey, Cass. Okay, so let's start. While we're waiting for those PRs and issues to get raised and so on, maybe let's start with the giveaway. Let's give away something at the moment. So I want to add my screen. I've got this empty wheel, and what we're going to do is we're going to pick people who have raised issues and pull requests. So let's have a look. Hopefully I don't miss anyone, and hopefully they're still here. So let's see. Is Emma? Are you still here? Because there's nothing worse than doing giveaways, people winning and they're not here. So let's see who's around. If you want to be entered into the competition, put your name in the chat, or just say competition in the chat, and then I will check that you have raised an issue or a pull request, and then you're automatically entered as well. And if you want bonus points, take a screenshot, tag me and Dima on Twitter and Novu, and we will give it a like, give it a reply, and then we'll pick some at random to retweet as well. Emma's still here. Okay, so let's start. So Emma, we're putting your name in. Emma, here we go. It's Wayne. Okay, so next up, who do we have? Praduma is still here. Praduma. Okay, as Emma, and then who was this? Savindu, are you still here? It's Praduma, Emma, Susmita is here. So I'm going to spell it wrong. Let me see.
Yeah, Savindu is here as well.
Oh, yeah, perfect. Okay, great. Thank you. So Savindu. Savindu, did I spell that right? Savindu, yeah, perfect. Who else have we got? Okay, let's go to issues now and we'll check that out. So Praduma, I don't think your team counts. What do you think?
No.
Okay, perfect. Okay, yeah, okay. Emma, we got Susmita. And we've also got, I'm going to pronounce this name wrong, Nijong, if I pronounced that right. We'll add you as well. I've just realized something. We have 5 giveaways, so we have 5 people. Not much of a spinning thing, right?
Maybe we have more people joining in. Let's see.
Let's have a look in the... Sorry, I'm sure you have all the swag already. One of the perks of the job, right? You just get all the awesome
yeah,
swag.
Yeah, definitely.
So okay, brilliant. I think we've got 5 people and 5 giveaways. Should we just give it a spin? Oh, we've got the other Emma. Oh yes, perfect. So we do have 2 Emmas. You're right, because it was in. I think it was the. Was it open? I did see the other Emma somewhere. Did I miss it? But I did see something come up as well.
Maybe on the issue.
Yeah, with one close. Maybe it's that one. No, that was Emma Wayne. I did see it somewhere. Oh, Emma learns to code. There we go. Emma learns. I think it was right. Emma learns code. Sorry. There we go. Okay, so we've got 6 people.
Now we have it all in.
Thank you. No, Emma, you're definitely in it. Come on, you're one of the mods and maintainers on Eddie Hub. You need to be in it as well. Okay, drum roll. There's nobody. I haven't missed anyone else out, hopefully. Okay, so we've got 6 people and 5 giveaways. The tension is here. Does anyone want a few minutes to raise another issue or pull request who hasn't done it already so they can get added to the list? Let us know. You can raise an issue. We've got lots of ideas. Did someone raise an issue for the adding a screenshot to the README yet? No one wants green squares on GitHub anymore. I think, they're healthy. You should definitely raise some green squares. But okay, if no one wants that, we can get going. Let's do it. Let's do a spin. Okay, click to spin. 3, 2, 1, go. Drum roll. Oh,
it's close one.
Nice.
All right, congrats.
Okay, so Praduma, if you could, because I will forget who the winners are. So what is probably best thing to do is if you join, I'm trying to think, DM me. I was going to say join Novu's Discord, but maybe do that and DM Toma or DM me. Just do one of those and we'll get that connected up. So perfect. Okay. Should we do the next one? We'll remove Praduma so they can't win again. Right. Yep. Let's go.
And we have a winner.
Is it good?
Oh my God, this is so close.
That was close. Nijong, congratulations as well. Awesome. Perfect. Okay. Send me a DM, please, on Discord too as well, so I don't forget.
Yeah, I've also attached in the link the Novu Discord link. So
yes. If you private chat it to me on StreamYard, I can copy and paste it in, because I think if you do it, YouTube will remove it. So
yeah, I'll send it here.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So maybe do join Novu's Discord. Let me see. Copy link address. Here we go. And join this, and you can also ask the team. As you can see, they're all friendly. They're all here. They all want to kind of geek out and collaborate with you. Do ask them questions. Yes, exactly. Everyone's a winner if you get green squares. Love that. But some people will get some extra swag as well too. Okay, how many is that? Is that like that's 5 people? I think we should probably leave now, right, Dima? I think that was 5. How many giveaways have we done? That was like 5 giveaways. No more. No one wants any more anyway.
No,
okay,
I think people want it.
Okay, let's do another one. And
I'm so excited about to see like who's the next winner is. You know?
I really want to know what the swag is as well. I can't remember. I have to have a look and see. Okay, let's spin it again. Oh, I love this. Everyone's supporting each other as well. Love this. Awesome. Yay! Okay, see, supporting each other wins. Yes. Emma as well. Do send me a DM and join their Discord too. Okay, that's 3 people, right? Is that correct? How many winners have we had? We've had 3. Okay, so we've got 2 more to go. So Vindu is crossing their fingers as well. Okay. Okay. Is there any more green squares? Are we going to add anybody to the list? Let's see. 10 and 1. If I do a refresh, 2. So another one's come in. Okay, we're going to add 1 more person to this to make it more exciting. Create burnout. Perfect. So we've got Mohammed. Mohammed, say hi in the chat. Let us know you are, around in the live stream as well. Let's make it a bit more tense and suspense.
Yes. This is being more tense by the minute.
I should have put my name in there. I created a pull request as well.
Yes, you did.
Okay, I don't know if Mohammed is here in the live, so maybe we won't add them. Okay. Remind me, how many did we do? We did 2. How many winners have we had now? 3 or 4?
We had 3 by now.
3.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got 2 more. Okay, let's go. Ready? So we've got 3 people and 2 winners for sure. Go! Everyone, cross your fingers and your toes. Oh, the sections are getting bigger.
Yeah. Congrats.
Nice work.
Congrats, Smita.
Congrats. Oh, Mohammed is here. Okay, let me add Mohammed as well for the next one. Okay, thank you, Mohammed. Here we are. So, okay, last one, and there's 3 people. Okay. Let's do it. Everyone ready? The last one. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up as well. Okay. Go. The stress.
Let's see.
Yay! I think it's stopped. Nice.
Congrats.
Congratulations, Emma. That's awesome. If anyone has any questions for Dima, obviously you can ask now, and or you can ask later in their Discord too. Dima, what else would we like to cover? We've got a few minutes left. Everyone, let us know. We're interested to know what thoughts and ideas of projects you would like to create with notifications. Maybe leave some thoughts in the chat now, or you could also start a discussion in the Daily Tips repo, and you could just raise some thoughts and some ideas. It'd be really interesting to see what projects you have ideas on. I know Novu are going to run some hackathons in the future as well, so lots more kind of collaboration you can do, lots more swag giveaways, so many things. Definitely follow them on Twitter and follow Dima and Toma, and they'll be tweeting lots of fun stuff. What should I DM in Discord? Just DM.
You can send me a message. It's just like let me write it down.
Just say something like live stream winner, and then we'll remember. We can always go back and check the live stream anyway.
Yeah, just in the general channel or like in the lunch, just type it up and we will send you a message.
Yeah, let me do that in the Novu as well. Just write it down, and that will get more people to join in next time as well. Don't worry, as long as you send it somewhere, we'll make sure you get the swag. We all love swag. And why wait for Hacktoberfest? It's 6 months away. We can start with green squares and swag now. Dima, thank you so much for joining. on the live stream with me. I really enjoyed geeking out. I hope you had fun as well too.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun. I think it was like my really first time doing like these sorts of things. So it was really exciting. Thank you so much for having me.
We couldn't tell. You did it super pro. And just to check, have you pushed all the latest changes from your project?
Yeah, we did. I have, we have the author name, so I'll edit it right now. So let's
Okay,
do it.
perfect.
New feature, and we're saying added the author name to the email. And we're going to push it as well.
Perfect. People still asking where to send it. People can DM me or and I'll send you across to I can send you a link to their Discord where you can message their team with they'll ask for your address and so forth so they can send you stuff. Yes, but if in doubt, just ask. Like we always say, collaboration first, code second. Just ask, and we'll figure it out. Don't worry, it's all part of the fun. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I really appreciate it. One last tip email, please send. Oh yes, because Praduma is now on the list. And thank you so much, Susmita, for the amazing contribution and the support and the great positive feedback. Okay, Dima, can we do one more? Let me just.
Yeah, do we have like somebody else in the?
We do have some more people. Okay, so let me share my screen quickly, merge those in, and we'll do one more send. Loving that people want this. This is great, and I've got some really interesting ideas that maybe we could do this week to the project as well. So I'm sure other people have so many more ideas too. So that was Susmita, just been added to the list, and then we've got a tip from Mohammed as well. So let's have a look. Delay self burnout. Always make sure to take a break and relax. Yes. So we've got an extra tip and an extra person as well. Let's do this. Okay, so if you do a pull, and then I will bring up your screen.
All right, let's do a pull.
One last tip.
And let's refresh it.
So it should be like 4 people now, I think, maybe. I can't remember what number it is. 4 people. Yes. Let me check my mail.
All righty then. Our daily tip is growing. It was your tip, Eddie. The smaller the PR, the more likely it will be reviewed and merged. Nice.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. You're super awesome. Dima, any last closing notes you would like to say to everyone who's watching?
Yeah, I think like if anyone is interested like in contributing to open source and like seeing like how the project is built behind the scenes, like really digging like in the API, like in the web, how it was built, like what technologies we used, feel free to send a message on Discord. We can jump on a call. Like we're super excited to meet new people always, and definitely contributors and just people who are interested in what like we're building as a community. So feel free to send me a message, a direct message, or just a message on Discord, and like I'll reach you out. And thank you everyone for joining for this stream. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much, Dima, for your taking us through, teaching us how to do TypeScript, set up the project, and set up the notifications. I'm just sharing. Praduma got the email. Yay! Cool. Nice. And I'm just sharing the Novu repo, and I'm also going to share Dima on Twitter as well. So everyone check it out in the chat. There are some links in the description below. As Dima mentioned, you can ask in Discord if you need any help or have any questions or see what example projects. I'm sure they have lots of resources they can share with you as well. And Susmita got the email too. Awesome. Thank you so much. Loving this. Everyone have a great week. Dima, thank you so much again for the amazing live stream and the support from your team in the chat as well. They were awesome, super supportive. I think it's a great place to start. We're going for an hour and 45 minutes.
We did it. A bit less, but we managed.
we did it. And you got some more followers on Twitter. Yay, Emma, thank you. That's awesome. And we'll do more live streams in the future as well, everyone. Okay, Dima, I'm going to bring up the countdown. If you could stay on for a few minutes afterwards, I'll stop the stream and I can thank you personally as well.
Sure.
Everyone have a great week. Thanks again.